GTA 5 is an amazing game with beautiful graphics, amazing acting, amazing online, a big open world. It's a complete package. I mean, the game is so good, Rockstar is still remastering and porting that game to devices instead of making a new one, so obviously it's a masterpiece.
Whatever you say, Doc.
So I guess if we're talking about GTA 5, the best place to start would be the driving, because it's honestly one of the best parts of the game. I feel like they really did everything they could to make the driving straight up fun. You could seriously fire up this game and just drive around for like an hour and not get bored. I remember when I first started playing this game, I was having more fun goofing around grabbing cars and looking for stun jumps rather than playing the story or online missions. So what happened here? Okay, I don't know why, but I never really liked the flying in GTA. I played this game on 360, it doesn't control well there. I've played GTA 4 with its helicopters, that was arthritic. I'm playing the PC version of this game for my review, and I mean, it works, it's just not very ideal. So the way you control it is you still turn the plane with A and B, but to tilt the plane in all directions, you have to use a number pad like it's WASD. So clearly that doesn't really work at all, but I don't think flying by steering with the mouse would work that good either. It might just be because I'm used to the format they already gave me, and I don't know. What I recommend doing is going into the controls and changing it from the number pad to IJKL, because to me it's more comfortable since it's not as spread out and wacky. So while I don't think the flying in the game is the most fun to control, I'd say once you get used to it, you'll have a lot of fun just going around the city in a plane. I just hope in later entries they figure out how to make the flying less weird if they can find a more intuitive way to do it. At least for PC, because of PC it's just kind of eh. But I'll forgive them for messing up the flying because the graphics are like, damn. And seriously, every part of this world just looks so fucking good. The sunsets, the vibrant city colors, the oceans, the desert, the interiors of buildings you visit, the cars, they're all just so nice to look at. Now it's down to the open world, which I mean, it's fine. What I mean by that is it's a good open world. The city's super cool with the connecting freeways, the stories, they've made everything feel super real, and it's really nice. But my problem is there's so many empty areas in the world with pretty much jack shit going on. And I understand some parts of the world feel empty because they want to space out the content, I get it. But then there's Sandy Shores. Sandy Shores is such a plain, unappealing area with literally nothing to do in it. It just makes the top half of the map feel completely empty and barren, and I never choose up to go there by choice because it's just not even close to the amount of fun you could get in Los Santos. It really just feels like they added this part to benefit the campaign rather than to benefit the open world. I don't know how divisive the story is, but I really like it. It had a decently fleshed out story with witty criminals pulling off heists while staying pretty lighthearted and not taking itself too seriously. The characters aren't like GTA 4 or Red Dead Redemption where the story is super grim and they point more towards how awful it is to be a criminal and are over the top serious. But here, it's more like...
He reminds me of one of those guys you see advertising pills for middle-aged men that can't get erections.
Hey, Devin Weston is a very good friend of mine, so why don't you watch your tongue? Because let me tell you something, that guy gets more tail than, than a tail catcher.
I have to fucking remember that line.
So I think it's more of a preference. If you prefer lighthearted stories that don't try to be overly serious emotional roller coasters, you're gonna like the story. Something I think Rockstar has greatly improved on is mission structure and variety. In GTA 4, it feels like there's a lot of wash and repeat shootouts with very little distinction. In GTA 5, these are all from the same level. Each of them feels pretty creative and fun, and for the weaker missions, they're usually optional changes and freak stuff like the Tanya thing, or it's part of high setups like the dreaded Merryweather setup. Though I will say the amount of driving you have to do for some missions is a bit annoying. I just think it's dumb they'll tell you a mission starts here, but when you get there it's a cutscene, and you have to drive somewhere else where the action actually is. Like, why not just drive to where the mission actually takes place? It's usually to set up the specific plot of the mission, and it's not really that big of a deal because you could just call a taxi to fast travel to the points of the mission most of the time. I just think Rockstar can improve their design by not having that for literally every mission in the game. Okay, let's talk about online. The online is awesome, with an asterisk. See, the thing is, they have so many cool vehicles: the Shotaro, the Deluxo, dirt bike, jets, planes, even the Scooby-Doo van. I mean, these vehicles are pretty great. They could cause a lot of damage. I've watched friends take a cargo helicopter and then pick up a futuristic tank and just fly around the city causing mayhem. Not to mention all the other things. There are 69 online exclusive missions, haha 69, and 8 new heists. Not to mention all the side things like the races, making custom vehicles, the community, PvPs, arena wars, where you essentially take monster trucks and have a day, and so much more. So why did I put an asterisk in front of awesome when it clearly is? Well, I have a few gripes with it. I'll start with the small things. Okay, so in missions, there's a live system for your group, so that way if you lose X amount of lives, then it's game over. So how it works in missions is if you run out of lives, the next time you die, you won't respawn, and you have to rely on your teammates to carry you to the end, which is the right way to do it. So the way they do it with heists is it's the same life system, except if you run out of lives and die, it makes everyone else fail, even if they're still alive, and it's so annoying. Because if you make the mission fail for a heist, not only do you feel bad for setting everyone else back, but everyone on the team is most definitely going to hate you for like 10 minutes. Another gripe. When I was playing the bonus modes to get footage for the bonus modes because I wanted to try them out, they're annoying. So how it works is you still have to load into the online world, and then you can select the mission. But if you want to exit out of the missions you're doing, you have to go into free mode. But if you go into free mode, it takes like a long time to load in, like a minute to load into the free mode. And you have to do that literally every single time you wanted to exit. And it could be so easily avoided if you just had a separate menu for like the online missions and stuff in the online free world. Like you could still select the missions from the online free world, but you wouldn't have to load back into the main world to reselect things. You could just go in a menu from there. And I know they let you refresh through some missions, but like let's say you don't want to do stunt races anymore and you want to move on to arena wars, you have to go to free mode and then go into the arena wars option to get arena mode missions. And I just wish there was a more intuitive menu for this. I think what I'm trying to say about Rockstar's game design is for every one thing they do that's really good, they do like another 5 things that just set the game back from being enjoyable. Not even fun, just enjoyable. Okay, my other major gripe, the online is super grindy and tedious if you're trying to earn money. So yeah, there'll be all these extra missions and heists, and King of the Hills are great, but they don't pay out that much. The most you'll ever earn from these is like 12,000 to 24,000 bucks at the most. Which sounds like a lot, but in GTA that's practically pennies. Because you remember those really cool vehicles I was talking about? Yeah, they're super expensive. The Deluxo is $4 million. The Stromberg is $3 million. The Scramjet, that's another $4 million. A fucking dump truck is $1 million. $1 million for a dump truck. So that's a lot of money, so maybe you'll look into some cars that aren't filled to the brim with crazy modifications. Yeah, well most sports cars and stuff retail for like $500,000 at the least. So now that you know how much all these things cost, those missions really aren't paying out that much. I actually conducted an experiment. So for most of the missions I played, they'll take you like 15 to 30 minutes depending on how hard they are and how good you are. And to pay for them is usually around $8,000 to $24,000, so I made middle grounds for both of them. Let's just say the middle ground would be a 20-minute mission and will pay out $16,000. And now you're going to get a standard vehicle that's like $700,000. If you did the missions and tried to earn things at the average I presented, it would take you roughly 880 minutes, which is 14.6 hours to get a sports car, like not even one of the cool ones, just a regular ass car. Obviously, Rockstar added solutions to this. The first one is the business, which is why I wanted to say the online was grindy. So you save up the $1 million to buy a basic cargo business, and you have the option to get 1 to 3 cargoes depending on the warehouse you buy. Yeah, you have to buy even more shit. I get the cheapest one, and it was like $250,000 where you can store your cargo. Then you do the cargo missions, and you put it in your warehouse, and eventually it adds up, and you can choose whenever you want to sell it. Whenever at the max for the cheapest warehouse, you can make up to $240,000 each trip, which is literally 10 times as much as the most payout for a standard mission. So it's a no-brainer to play these. My problem is there's only like 10 cargo mission types that it cycles through, which makes sense. They can't make like 1 million missions, that's just unreasonable. But you have to do this for a while to grind and buy more businesses like the bunker and the MC business, the nightclub, air hangar, and those are also expensive. The bunker's gonna run you another $1 million. But if you just save up for more businesses, you're not going to have any new cars. You're going to be stuck with the same one you started with. So you want to go and buy better cars that have more things that make everything easier. So the more you have to do, you have to put money into all these extra things. So you can understand why replaying those same 10 missions are the most boring shit in the universe. But there's the other solution, which kind of pisses me off. The shark cards. Shark cards are literally just pay to win. They have different varieties of shark cards, each giving you more in-game money for a higher in real life price. So it's like, yeah, $5 is 100,000, and $100 could go up to like 8 million or something, you know what I mean? It's like that. And it sounds really appealing on purpose. Hey, you don't want to grind on these boring missions we made, and we made them boring on purpose, so you'd buy our shark cards, because we overpriced literally everything, so you'd be taking hours to get the most minute things. So of course you're going to want the shark cards, and of course you're going to trick a bunch of kids into wanting to get that, and other older people who just don't have the patience, and then Rockstar makes money off of their bad game design. So to sum it all up, the graphics are beautiful, the open world is cool but flawed in how poorly content is spread throughout it. The story is fun and lighthearted, the missions are unique and varied, the online is super fun and awesome, but the way they set stuff up makes it feel like their content is underutilized and they just highlight the more boring parts of the game. Alright, I'm hungry.